Hello, I'm Lise-Lotte and welcome to my garden. And welcome to this series on connection through creativity. I've been talking about several different themes, all related, and she always comes to sit with me when we're doing the video. And you can hear we have some neighbors who are doing some work with their house. And I thought, you know what, you'll be fine. You know that I'm in an urban flower farm. You know that this is an urban situation. And so there might be a little bit of sound that way. If you were with me a few weeks ago, you'll remember the story of this vase. And I wish I could share with you more than visually the sweet peas that I've grown. I just, the scent is just like divine, really. So today I wanted to talk about the things about creativity that you don't expect. So it's kind of, I think, one of the wonderful things about starting on any kind of creative journey, whether it's entrepreneurship or living a life as an artist or being more creative in your life. And that is that when you begin something, you don't always know where it's going to take you. And that's kind of the magic, I think. It's also the notion, I think, of being open to that, of being open to those possibilities, and just seeing where it takes you, and it starts with noticing. I just did a 5-day noticing workshop last week, which was really fun. And we specifically noticed certain things throughout the week. So each day I would send out a prompt. And, it was interesting because even though I was the one doing the prompts and I was the one that came up with it, I was still noticing the things that I was offering as an invitation to somebody else. So if one of the ones was, for example, texture. And so for the rest of the day, everything that I noticed around here and everywhere I went was all about texture. And then the same thing the next day about difference and so on. Like it was really kind of an interesting thing. And then it culminated in me doing a flower bouquet, and I'll show it to you here. And just as a way for, you could use anything. You could use slow stitch, you could do crazy quilting, you could do anything. But I chose to do, because I have lots of flowers at the moment, being on a flower farm and all. And so I chose to do my demonstration with that. So I'll show that here. And what was kind of interesting too is when I took it down to just black and white, and I had it on a black surface and then on a white surface, and the flowers that I was using, the color, now I know that white isn't technically a color, but I was using the color white with my flowers. It was just amazing how that looked, how interesting it is when you start to notice these different things, and how it really brings something into your life, whether you're a working artist or you're doing something for 15 minutes a day just to keep sane. Whatever it is, it's quite fun. So this last little while, I have been sharing my garden in some evenings with some creative friends who just come and enjoy the garden with me. We have, a little time to connect and to make stuff and to share what we're doing. And what's fun about it is it's, again, that sort of unexpected thing. So last week, somebody brought me something that I've never seen before. Maybe some of you have seen this magazine. It's not a magazine, they call it a book, but it's called Making Zine, and it's out of print at this point. This person, I think, makes a lot of, from what I can tell in my research, makes a lot of knitting patterns. But anyway, this particular, of course, blue and white, right? But caught my eye, and that is the French knot. It was one of the things kind of on my list that I wanted to do a better job of. I love embroidery. I could never get the French knot. And so then this project was offered up by a designer, and lovely instructions. Although I also went to YouTube to practice, because when I see something being done, I'm kind of better that way. That's why I like live things, or that kind of stuff. And here's the this one here. So I thought, yeah, you know what? I don't know where I'm gonna get the little like circular thing and stuff, but I thought I'm just gonna try it. So I went and found where I could get it, and I couldn't find, and if you know me, you'll laugh, because there are 3 numbers on an embroidery thread, this kind of embroidery thread. And the one that I was looking at was 721, but it was 121. But again, 21, of course it was. Anyway, I just thought that was so funny. So that's the one that she uses in the directions in the book and the recipe in the book. And I couldn't find it. So I chose some other colors. And that was really a fun exercise in the shop to find, I know Lily is wanting to see because I'm showing you something that might be interesting. It might have a scent. Turns out it's not interesting. You can't eat it. And actually, when I was there, I was wearing this dress, so it was kind of funny that I was choosing this color, but which I didn't used to think was a color that I was interested in. I never really noticed this color before, but anyway, there it is. So I did find how to do it, and I did make it, and it's not perfect. And I guess I don't even need to say that. Of course it's not perfect. You can see that it's not absolutely perfect, but I do feel as though I got a lot of practice with the French knot, which I'm really happy about. And now I can say that I know how to do it. So that if that comes up on a pattern or something, then I'm going to be able to do it. But it kind of, it got me thinking, like I didn't even really know that these little things existed particularly. And it comes with a backing, so you can hide your work, which is nice. And I just used some linen that I have. It was a little thick. I mean, I would use it for embroidery, or if I was going to let the linen show, which I might actually do. I might do another fun one just to make a little picture or something. I was thinking some flowers or something. But so I might do that and use that. But it is quite thick, so you could just use cloth. So then I got thinking, oh, cloth. Well, I actually could use something where I am cyanotyping on it. So this is an old one that I have done, but I did some other one. I thought, oh, I've got some fabric. I'll just got all my cyanotype stuff. I'm gonna see if I can do that on this piece of just cotton cloth. And so I did. I got the other one here. Oh, here it is. So I started making these ones. And this one. These are a different color because this one was left out longer because it was later in the day and I wasn't sure if I was getting a print. Anyway, so that's why the difference. And so I'm wearing this one. And I don't really have a necklace that's the right length for this. And so I thought, oh, I do actually have one. And it has the letter I on it for Ilsa. And the beautiful jeweler who made this for me to give to a few people made one for me, which was really sweet. And so I had it when I was out at Bilston Creek the last 2 days, and I was wearing this. I had it like this, but I actually had the eye behind me. And it's actually kind of symbolic, isn't it? That Ilsa's always really behind me in all of these endeavors, and she sure is. Anyway, so I thought I would just kind of, let you know. Oh yes, and I used this for the actual embroidery part. I've never used a hoop before of all these years of doing this. It's very simple to put together, and you do get a nice flat surface to work on, and I think it's probably easier if you're doing counting for cross stitch, probably easier. I've never done it that way, and I just made the circle of how big I would need this to be. I just did it with pencil, and then the trick, I think, if I was going to tell you something, if you're going to do this, the trick, I think, is to leave enough room around. Like, it doesn't matter where you're doing it on here, but if you've got extra material, so that you have enough, just like I did with this one, so that you have enough to bend it around, and then you can cut off a little extra at the back. So that's basically what you're seeing there, is just a larger version of this one. And then on the back, so I've cut it and then pulled it in, and then I've put glue on the back frame, and this thing comes with a little thing to put on the back. So actually it is kind of nice. You can hide your work that way. And then the only decision really that I'm trying to decide now, as I'm now hooked on this and I want to make more, and I did sell one when I came last night to pick up my things at Bilston. I noticed there was one missing, so that was good. So somebody has found this and is going to wear it, hopefully. I'd be interested to know if they wear it as a necklace or if they just hang it somewhere. I mean, you know, but I don't know if you can see that. One is, this is flush with the front frame, and this is back a little bit. So I'm trying to decide, you know, what is better. Love to know in the comments, actually, if you have an opinion about that. It's one of those things that when you're making something, you make it for you, and then I wasn't really thinking about it initially, and then I thought, well, actually, yeah, kind of, it is a different thing when it's completely flat on the front, than when there's almost like a shadow box kind of effect with that. Anyway, actually I like both, and so maybe I'll just make both and see what other people think. I didn't stay out at Bilston the whole time for the whole festival. It was on from 10 till 8 both days. But what I did was I came back and I was working on my Etsy shop, because somebody had asked me, and this is such a good thing about like getting out of your own space and going and talking to other people about like stuff. And she said, there was a customer there, and she said, oh, do you have like an online shop? And I said, well, yeah, I have an Etsy shop, but it's kind of like needs a little tidying up. And the words were kind of out of my mouth before I'd even, like, that's not a marketing response by any means. But anyway, I did come back and I've been tidying it up. And I've also, Etsy gives you some tips for being seen, and so I didn't have enough pictures on some of my things, so I have now taken more pictures of my items, so I've got to upload all of that today. And what prompted it all actually was over the weekend I had a lovely Etsy order, and I sent it out and took it to the post office, sent it out, and then I forgot on the Etsy thing you're supposed to say like I've sent it, so that the person knows it's on its way, when I forgot that part. And so Etsy sent me a reminder saying like, you've got to send this off to the person. And so I wrote a little note saying, terribly sorry, I did send it off, but I forgot to say that I had done it. And so the person was so lovely. She lives out east, and she wrote back and she said, well, actually, coincidentally, it arrived today and I love it, and I can hardly wait to get it framed and put it up. And so that was kind of fun. And, you know, as with a lot of these things, it often is an interesting story, and I'm so honored that people will write and say something really from their heart about what that means to them, or what the story of my cyanotype, how I came to it, which I include. It's on my website, actually, under Out of the Blue. But so I include that story whenever I sell a print. And so somebody had responded to that with her own experience, and yeah, it's just so touching. So we had kind of a nice little back and forth a few times yesterday, and so yeah, it makes the world seem smaller, and it also is kind of a lovely thing that you know that the thing that you've made here in the garden with the sunshine on the West Coast is going to be appreciated and seen in whatever way somebody else brings to that on their wall in their house. And I guess that's kind of, you know, we've talked about it in previous videos about, you know, you put your art or your good thoughts or your kindness or whatever out into the world, and you don't know exactly where it's going. And so I really appreciate when people buy my work, that they let me know like who they're giving it to, or, you know, and sometimes I don't find out about it for a while. Like I've been at the Bilston farm, lavender farm, for a few Christmases now at their Yuletide market. And so it's actually sometimes like the next year, because it gets pretty busy out there, and I'm always talking to people and offering to take pictures of people in front of the tree, and it's really fun. But sometimes it'll be like the next year and they'll say, oh, last year I bought this card from you and I sent it off to Montreal to this designer who I know would really appreciate it. And it's like, oh, that's so cool. And or I've sent it to my mom in Belgium, or like all the different things, and you don't always find that out until the next year. But it is lovely that people tell you that kind of stuff, because it just kind of, I don't know if it closes the loop. I mean, but it's part of the story, you know, it's part of where these things, they go out into the world. Like whoever is wearing the one that they bought at Bilston yesterday, like, I'm so curious, like, you know, who are they and why were they interested in it? What does it remind them of? Or, you know, that kind of stuff is it's so curious to me. So anyway, if you ever get a chance to, if you've bought something at a market and you see the person again, I mean, everybody's different and some people don't react this way, but I hope that you get the reaction of, oh, thank you for telling me, rather than why did you bother telling me? I mean, but you know, I would also say that you never know, and this is, now that I've done a few markets, because it's not my very favorite thing to do, I really like doing it out there, but I don't sign up for other markets, but I really like to go all the way out there, because I feel as though people are very intentional about coming to a market and they're more interested in story and meeting people and so on. When they get there, it's just that kind of place in that kind of barn. So I do that, and I absolutely treasure that time. But I haven't signed up for other markets just because I don't, I don't enjoy that. But what I would say is that it has given me some insight into sort of what it feels like to be behind your work and to have people come along and comment in whatever way that they think they want to comment. And I think maybe, I don't know if it's social media that has kind of made it so that people don't know that there are ears behind that, like, you know, whether people just think that they can comment and it doesn't have an impact on the maker. You know, it can be kind of tough the way that people sort of say things, and or, you know, they don't think about the person, right? And so I remember going to a market in the summer, and I thought that this particular potter, I thought, oh, I absolutely adore her work, but she didn't seem very friendly. And anytime I had walked by, like for a couple of years, I just thought, oh, she's not so friendly. And then I happened upon her studio, and I went and I bought a whole set of plates and stuff, because I absolutely love her work. So I'm thrilled that I get to have that and use it every day. But we talked about that, and it was a good reminder of, like, who has talked to the person before you're talking to them? You know, what has happened before that conversation, and that has an impact. And so I think about that with shops too. Like if I'm in a shop and the person who I walk in and they're not very friendly, I think, well, I wonder who they've just dealt with, you know? And so I kind of come to it with that, that kind of an understanding to it, or a curiosity about it, or I don't know, is that grace? I don't know. But anyway, it's just empathy, I think. It's empathy. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, is just, you know, when you are together with other people, you never know, like, what somebody might bring you. And this was from a friend of hers who had passed away, and her partner had said, you know, to all the creative people in her life, you know, come and take whatever you would like. And so my friend had this to pass along, because she already had this. And so I will, you can see I've kind of like, it came in mint condition last week, but I've thumbed through it so many times, and it's got beautiful knitting patterns in it and stuff like that. And other things that I'm interested in, and always interested in seeing how other people explain things and so on. But anyway, it's, if you ever come across this, it's fantastic. But the notion that, you know, one friend hands you something that was a gift from somebody else, and then you never know kind of where it will lead. And you know, it leads to kind of a fun, you know, I've done these now and now I'm on to this. I mean, I'm very excited about these. I think they're really cool. They're really nice to wear. It's very light, actually. Yeah, so you really never know. And that's the thing about creativity. One thing leads to the other in the most beautiful ways, I think, when you're open to where it might lead you, and being open to those kind of synchronicities and connections and serendipity and all of the wonderful, really, I want to use the word magic, because it's not, you can't really explain that part. And I've heard it spoken about, like, you know, it's your soul and all that kind of stuff. Like, and maybe it is, but I think it's sort of out there, and all of these wonderful things are waiting to be played with and experimented with, and they don't necessarily cost a lot of money. Like these little ones, I think, were 79 cents each. So, you know, I've spent a whopping $6 on the different colors, but it is kind of fun. And I think if you are able to do that for yourself and let yourself experiment in that way, and be open to one thing leading to another. And the other thing, the last thing I'll say, is that you don't always know. In fact, I don't think you ever know where one thing will lead. Like, I had been thinking of doing minis a long time ago, but I couldn't find the things. I didn't know I didn't know where to look for them. I didn't really, it was kind of, you know, I didn't do it. And I didn't see doing it as a necklace. I had seen them more like you'd make something for like an ornament for a tree or something. Like, I'd seen that kind of thing. And so a few years ago, I thought, oh, that would be fun to do. But I'd forgotten all about that, and like completely forgotten all about that. And so it was actually kind of like going through a different way of starting with something else. So you really don't know where it's going to take you. And I think when you're in community with other people, when you have a chance to talk with other people who are creative, like we do in GEMS actually, then, you know, one thing can happily lead to another. And yeah, and we'll see where it goes. So in the comments, I would love to know what is one thing that has led you to a different place that you didn't know you were going to go to, whether it was with your creativity or with something else in business, or you know, a place that you travel to, whatever it is. It's just fascinating to me. So I'd love to know. And if you find these videos in any way helpful, please like. I love it when people comment, and please subscribe. And if this is the kind of thing that you find helpful, and you know somebody else who would, I'd love for you to share that, because I think that these kind of stories and creativity and connections that we make with one another are just, you know, it could be the spark of somebody else's, oh, I had that idea. Well, maybe I'll get some creative friends together and we'll be in the garden, and then something else will, so it can kind of snowball. And, you know, my goal actually about being here, in any of the ways that I'm here, whether it's here or Instagram or my newsletter, my blog, whatever it is really to help other women find connection through creativity, because I think that that is wonderful, powerful stuff, and I think it has an impact on your happiness and really the rest of your life, in how you live your life, as you can walk alongside difficult things when you walk along with an openness and creativity. So that's my goal, is to kind of help share that and share the possibility of that for people. So if you could help me do that, that would be really wonderful, and I appreciate it. So that's all for today, and thank you for being here, and I wish you peace on your path.